So, the Supreme Court might do away with affirmative action at universities. It's one of these topics where I'm surprised it's not going away. I remember debating stuff like this in high school. I mean, affirmative action, that and abortion probably will never go away. So now I guess we have we have some Trump-appointed judges in the court, the more conservative, and now we have more cases coming through, and then this might dislodge affirmative action. Just my opinion, that seems pretty straightforward. If you do take government, I mean, private institutions should be able to discriminate against anybody they want. If somebody applies to rent in your apartment building and you don't like their hat, that's fine. So that's private institutions. As soon as you take government money, well, they probably should set out these laws because everybody has to pay these taxes. So everybody owns the government in a way. So everybody, like all the taxpayers, own this institution. So it should be as inclusive as possible. And inclusive, I mean, not in the progressive way. And inclusive in, like, we're not going to discriminate against you by skin color. This is a LA Times article. I guess they're trying to be neutral, but you can tell that they're left-leaning. They're probably they're biased as in favoring this affirmative action. But let's jump into it here. Supreme Court argued Monday to hear a major challenge to race-based affirmative action in the nation colleges, universities, setting a stage for another long sought-out win for conservatives. And I don't even know why is this a win for conservatives or liberals. Shouldn't it be just a common sense decency? You could have some institution that wants to play God and wants to erase centuries of slavery and Jim Crow and to right all wrongs of the universe. Okay, well, a private institution could do that. They want to have their own private school, but especially screw Harvard. They have billions of dollars. That's like they probably have more money than some small countries. So they can afford, they have so many donors and so much capital that they can afford to discriminate. Just go private. Discriminate all you want. Create your, multi-ethnic utopia or whatever, but why they insist on taking public money as well, that's the annoying part. Justices voted to hear a pair of appeals contending that Harvard University, the nation's oldest private university, the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, the oldest public university, are violating civil rights laws by giving preferences to some minority students seeking admission while discriminating against others, including Asian Americans. They asked the court to rule that universities, whether public or private, may not use a race as a factor in admissions, and they rely on Civil Rights Act of 1964, which says no person shall be subject to discrimination on the grounds of race, color, national origin in a school or university that receives federal funds. Now, clearly there, because they're discriminating against people and the right way, the way the liberals like them to discriminate, then the Civil Rights Act is not enforced, and it just goes by the wayside, or not. They look the other way. But the letter of the law is it's very clear that they can't do that. Since 1978, however, Supreme Court has held that colleges, universities, and law schools may consider students' race and ethnicity as a plus factor in order to create more diversity in their classes. A recent decade, the court took up anti-affirmative action challenges to the admissions policies of the University of Michigan Law, University of Texas, but upheld them narrowly over sharp dissents from the conservatives. So you consider students' race ethnicity as a plus factor. But I guess the Asian ethnicity is not a plus factor. It's a minus factor. Because that's what clearly it is, according to Harvard. Chief Justice Jonathan Roberts Jr. amongst one of the dissenters. He now it has 5 more conservative justices on his court, and they're in position to overturn the past rulings that upheld affirmative action. The effect in California may be limited, however. 1996 state was the first to outlaw race-based admissions policies when the voters passed Proposition 209, and that they're trying to overturn that, and that was defeated in 2020. But a ruling striking down Harvard admission policy would also apply to other private colleges and universities such as Stanford and USC. The pair of cases to be held in high court were managed by Edward Blum, a retired financier who has launched in a series of lawsuits to challenge what he sees as the legal use of race by colleges and universities. He enlists supporters to back his case. He created a group called Students for Fair Admissions to sue Harvard and UNC. The group has 20,000 members, including Asian American students who were denied admission to Harvard. Our goal is to restore original principle of our nation's civic rights movements. A student race and ethnicity should not be factors that harm or help the students to gaining admissions to a competitive university. Since UNC is a state university, also alleged to violate the 14th Amendment, guarantee that equal protection of the laws. Now, it's like you can see the case for affirmative action. That, some realists would say, hey, people who graduate Harvard get into places of power, and we want more people of this ethnicity to get into positions of power because there's not enough in there. Obviously, it's quite clear that the education itself is completely irrelevant, complete bullshit. You can just watch YouTube videos or just read, everything that's being taught at Harvard is completely available online for free. So it's obviously not. It's not about the education. It's just a gateway to get into higher positions, and we're going to control this gateway. Some group of people are going to who control Harvard are essentially controlling the gateway to power, and they're going to twist the knobs of what races and what proportions of people that are going to get in, to balance out, to right the wrongs of all history. Quote, it's our hope that justice will end the use of race admissions factor at Harvard, UNC, and college universities, Blum said on Monday. Every college applicant should be judged as a unique individual, not as some representative of a racial or ethnic group. Cheryl Flynn, the president of NAACP Legal Defense Fund, said the court's decision seriously threatens nation ideals of equality. Holistic race-conscious admissions programs enable Harvard University. That's so funny. Your Honor, yes, my apartment building is all white, but I have a holistic race-conscious admission application process. That would never fly in court. The University of North Carolina and other colleges and universities to bring together people of different backgrounds to learn one from each other. But the thing is, they're not even different backgrounds. If you're just considering a student's ethnicity, they could be the same. Just because two people are different skin color doesn't mean that they're not from the same socioeconomic group with the same ideas. It's not like, heavens forbid, you're going to admit conservative and bring in conservative or libertarian administrators just to, the colleges are very progressive, and you really want a diverse mixture of ideas to be such a colorful and rich tapestry of campus life. It's like, no. It's people who think exactly the same, but just happen to have different skin hue. An Asian American civil rights group in San Francisco also urged, see, this is where the article is biased, also urged the court to preserve affirmative action. Amid a national reckoning with anti-Asian American racism. From who? Be specific. We know that discrimination is not a relic of the past, and continues to pervade and distort the lived experiences for people of color in this country every day. We'll still need these programs. What the? Asian American Advancing Justice said in a statement, 70% of Asian Americans support affirmative action. We reject the use of Asian Americans as proxies to attack the constitutionality of race-conscious programs. Yeah, I think this is a complete bullshit statistic. I'm pretty sure the Asian Americans that are polled for this question would consider themselves a minority and consider themselves be a beneficiary of affirmative action. If you specifically polled Asian Americans and say, hey, do you support affirmative action where Asian Americans will be discriminated against? There's no way in hell is going to be a 70% support. Complete bullshit. Lower courts were unanimous in rejecting the lawsuits brought by Blum's group. A federal judge in Boston, the First Circuit Court, there and federal judge in North Carolina, all concluded that challenges has exaggerated the effect of race in the admission process. They said the universities follow the Supreme Court's past guidance by weighing a student's race or ethnicity as one factor when choosing among a group of well-qualified applicants. Harvard, for example, said it selects 1,600 freshmen each year from more than 35,000 highly qualified applicants. To assemble the strongest first-year class, Harvard looks for students who excel beyond academics, who will bring distinctive experiences, prospective talents, and interests to campus. Really? Then why is the campus not politically diverse? Why then a lot of it feels like it's only quote unquote diverse just by the melanin people's skin. It does not pursue racial quotas or balance, does not automatically reward preferences to black or Latino applicants, they added. Yeah, of course it doesn't automatically. You just do the fact that you being black or Latino will not get you accepted. That's for sure, but you ever seen the charts where you have to, if you're an Asian, you have to do like twice as better on the SAT scores or something like that than a Latino applicant? In a statement Monday, Harvard President Larry Bacco said that the court's actions put at risk 40 years of legal precedent, granting colleges and universities the freedom and flexibility to create diverse campuses and communities. Yeah, that's great. That's fine. Just give back the government funds. Harvard will continue to defend vigorously its admission practices. Harvard does not discriminate. Our practices are consistent with Supreme Court's precedent. There is no persuasive, credible evidence wanting a different outcome. Harvard has played a special role in the history of affirmative action. In 1978, when the court took up its first challenge to affirmative action, its ruled for Alan Black, a rejected white applicant to the UC Davis Medical School who alleged he was a victim of racial discrimination. The court ruled that the UC system had wrongly set aside a fixed number of slots for minority applicants. So, continuing on here. They contended that universities regularly penalize Asian American applicants and require them to have far higher grades and test scores to win admission compared with black and Latino students, which is true. Jewish students were the first victims of holistic admissions, and Asian Americans are the main victims today. They also contend that both universities could achieve racial and ethnic diversity through race-neutral alternatives, such as giving preferences to disadvantaged students who come from families with low income or community where few went to college. I mean, just be great to actually have real diversity of opinion, real diversity in thought, not this fake stuff where all the students are probably from the same economic strata anyway and have the same political opinions, just have different melanin. The court will hear arguments this fall in the two cases, students for fair admissions versus Harvard College, students for fair admissions versus University of North Carolina. A decision will not be expected till 2023. Overall, I have low opinion colleges in general. But if people want to fight over this elite status, yeah, I mean, there's a big prize waiting for you at the end of the tunnel. You know, you get this Harvard degree, which confirms certain magical prestige. So people will be fighting over it.